Let's deep dive into the Hollywood's most difficult, rude, and downright cruel leading ladies. These actresses may be legendary, but behind the scenes they gained infamy for diva antics, temper tantrums, and scandalous behavior that left co-stars quaking. Buckle up. This ride through old Hollywood gossip and modern-day drama is sensationally wild. Joan Crawford, Queen of Mean. Joan Crawford was the epitome of a golden age diva whose off-screen cruelty became as legendary as her on-screen talent. You want difficult? Joan defined it. An Academy Award winner known for brilliant performances, she was also an unyielding perfectionist with a tyrannical streak. The infamous no-wire hangers ever seen from Mommy Dearest immortalized her reputation. In the memoir by her adopted daughter Christina, Joan is portrayed as an emotionally and physically abusive mother, scrubbing bathroom floors at 3 a.m., beating her for minor infractions, and exploding into a violent fit when she discovered one of Christina's dresses hung on a common wire hanger. Whether entirely factual or not, the chilling image has resonated in pop culture. On set, Crawford demanded absolute perfection and control. One makeup artist recalled that working for her was like servitude. Every detail was scrutinized, and crew members were forced to work as if they were mere servants. Joan made the slaves look like Boy Scout, the artist lamented, emphasizing her relentless inspections and explosive temper. Her feud with Bette Davis reached near mythic proportions. On the set of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? In 1962, the two divas engaged in vicious on-camera antics. In one scene, Bette had to drag Joan's character across the floor, unaware that Joan had slipped weights into her pockets to make herself heavier. In another, Bette reportedly kicked Joan so hard she needed stitches. Not to be outdone, Crawford feigned illness, forcing production delays or the use of a body double, and even schemed to steal Bette's spotlight at the Oscars by accepting an award on behalf of another actress. All to spite her longtime rival, Faye Dunaway, on-set terror in designer sunglasses. Faye Dunaway's off-screen reputation is as chilling as her on-screen talent. Although lauded for her portrayal of Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest, Faye herself became infamous for her explosive diva behavior. On her very first day on set, fellow actress Rutanya Alda recalled being slapped hard across the face during a rehearsal, leaving the entire cast in stunned silence. Her temper only escalated over time. On the set of Chinatown in 1974, she clashed repeatedly with director Roman Polanski. Legend has it that when he refused her a bathroom break, she filled a cup, flung it at him in fury, and later erupted in expletives when he yanked a stray hair from her head. This earned her the nickname the Dreaded Dunaway from co-star Jack Nicholson. Her reputation wasn't confined to film alone. During a Broadway play in 2019, backstage rules were imposed. No one was allowed to wear white, to avoid distracting her, and she was eventually fired for slapping crew members. On a 1990s theater tour, a wig designer recalled how she struck an assistant's hand simply because the hairpins were handed to her improperly. Known for showing up hours late and then exploding if things weren't exactly as she wanted, Dunaway was a true Hollywood minefield. She'd fire assistants on a dime and even demand that an entire elevator be cleared for her private ride, insisting on a specific kind of bottled water chilled to an exact temperature. In the late 90s, she made headlines when she threw a tantrum on a transatlantic flight over slow service, causing the pilot to intervene. Tallulah Bankhead, outrageous original diva. Tallulah Bankhead was a Hollywood hellraiser whose unfiltered, scandalous behavior defined an era. This Alabama-born actress, active from the 1920s through the 1940s, shocked high society with her devilish humor and outrageous antics. Famously, she would drawl, "I'm as pure as the driven slush," a line that perfectly captured her irreverent nature. Tallulah played by her own rules, partying like there was no tomorrow and never hiding her true self. At fancy Hollywood dinners, she delighted audiences by telling risque, off-the-cuff dirty jokes and regaling guests with candid stories of her romantic conquests, both male and female. In one memorable incident, she scandalized a conservative London crowd by turning to a judge and purring, "I could cheerfully go to bed with you." But her audacity wasn't all fun and games. Tallulah could be brutally cruel. On the set of a royal scandal, she relentlessly bullied a younger co-star, plunging the production into chaos. She loathed pretension so much that if a director tried to rein her in, she'd either curse them out in her husky southern drawl or simply ignore their instructions. Her volatile temper was on full display during World War II on the set of Lifeboat. Upon hearing of an Italian surrender, she snapped at Austrian co-star Walter Slezak. "I hope they spill every drop of German blood. I hate them all, and I hate you." Stunned silence followed. With her deep voice, signature darling address, and scandalous quips, Tallulah became a prototype for the modern celebutante, uncontrollable by directors, uncensored by studios, and forever adored by the press. Her antics even led to a temporary Hollywood ban due to unpaid bills and outrageous rumors. Mae West, the original blonde rebel. Mae West redefined Hollywood scandal with her bold, bawdy attitude and refusal to follow anyone's rules. Starting on Broadway with risque plays, she was jailed for 8 days but emerged unapologetic, quipping that she wore silk underwear all along. In films, she exuded bodily confidence with saucy one-liners such as, "Is that a gun in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?" When studios watered down her scripts, she rewrote them back into her signature double entendre. Mae's fierce branding meant she demanded creative control and even launched a career-making break for a then-unknown Cary Grant by declaring, "If he can talk, I'll take him." She clashed with censors. The Hays Code crackdown partly stemmed from her moral scandal. Off-camera, Mae kept Hollywood waiting, insisted on being lit and shot in flattering conditions, and made sure every detail met her standards. Throughout the decades, she never compromised, proving that true diva moxie means turning punishment into publicity. As she famously said, "When I'm good, I'm very good, but when I'm bad, I'm better." Greta Garbo, the mysterious prima donna. Greta Garbo, the Swedish screen goddess, became legendary for her aloof, "I want to be alone" mystique. On set, she demanded total control. No visitors, no reporters, only essential crew to ensure perfection. If a light or costume detail was off, she'd retreat to her dressing room until it was fixed, even stopping production if necessary. Directors like George Cukor found themselves taking orders from her as she insisted on shooting only her best side in a specific lighting style. Her reticence extended to publicity. She refused interviews, autographs, and premieres, leaving studios desperate for her cooperation. When pushed, Garbo would simply say no at script meetings and vanish, forcing everyone to bend to her will. Despite her cold detachment, her demands secured her box office power. MGM even let her pick her directors and leading men. Garbo's mysterious, unyielding perfectionism made collaborating with her a challenge, yet her rare public appearances only deepened the legend. True to her solitary nature, she retired abruptly in her mid-30s, leaving behind frustrated bosses and captivated audiences alike. Ginger Rogers, dancing diva who fought for respect. Ginger Rogers, famed as Fred Astaire's sparkling dance partner, was never content with being sidelined. Tired of being typecast, she demanded equal recognition and creative input in an era when female stars were expected to be demure. By the mid-1930s, she publicly clashed with studio executives at RKO over lower pay and fluff roles. On the set of Swing Time in 1936, she insisted on changes to her costumes and routines, even suggesting reshoots when a scene felt off. When she discovered unequal pay in non-musical films compared to male co-stars, she marched into exec offices and demanded a raise, an unprecedented move that earned her the temperamental label. Her outspoken nature, reinforced by her formidable stage mother Layla, meant that together they negotiated contracts with tenacity. Although some critics later branded her difficult, colleagues recall that her assertiveness stemmed from a deep desire for fairness and artistic integrity. Ginger's relentless pursuit of respect paved the way for future generations of strong-willed actresses, proving that standing up for one's talent isn't diva behavior, it's trailblazing. Loretta Young, the saint with a secret temper. Known for her angelic screen persona, Loretta Young enforced strict on-set decorum with a swear jar policy, 25 cents per curse, earning her the nickname Mother Loretta. Deeply religious and impeccably professional, she expected absolute propriety from everyone. During Rachel and the Stranger in 1948 with Robert Mitchum, when he challenged her moral policing, he reportedly stuffed $20 into her swear jar in a burst of rebellious humor. Yet behind her pious exterior lurked scandal. She secretly had an affair with Clark Gable in 1935, resulting in a hidden pregnancy and later adoption of her own child, a fact that tarnished her squeaky clean image. On set, she maintained tight control over wardrobe and dialogue, halting production if costumes weren't modest enough. Despite her rigid demands, she was revered for her talent and punctuality, though colleagues sometimes whispered about her sanctimonious nature. Loretta's duality, a blend of moral strictness and personal hypocrisy, left a lasting impression, making her both admired and resented. Her unwavering insistence on proper conduct set a high standard that many found oppressive. Yet it also underscored her commitment to the image that made her one of Hollywood's most enduring stars. Marilyn Monroe, unreliable, unstable, unforgettable. Marilyn Monroe remains the iconic blonde bombshell whose on-screen magic was marred by on-set chaos. In films like Some Like It Hot in 1959, director Billy Wilder was forced to pad schedules as Marilyn arrived hours late and required 40 to 50 takes for simple lines like, "It's me, sugar." Her mood swings were legendary, bubbly in the morning, reduced to tears by afternoon. While she often deferred to acting coach Paula Strasberg over Wilder's direction, sparking heated disputes. Personal demons, including crippling insecurities and a growing dependency on barbiturates, clouded her professionalism, leaving co-stars like Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon both amused and exasperated. Producer Walter Mirisch famously lamented that working with her was like kissing Hitler, highlighting the extreme frustration she induced. Despite the chaos, when the camera rolled, Marilyn's radiant presence transformed the set into cinematic gold, as seen in The 7-Year Itch and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Yet as her troubles deepened, with missed days on The Misfits and her eventual dismissal from Something's Got to Give, the cost became personal. Marilyn's erratic behavior, fueled by inner pain and illness, turned her into a beautiful disaster, a paradox of brilliance and breakdown that continues to fascinate Hollywood lore. Zsa Zsa Gabor, the slap-happy socialite. Zsa Zsa Gabor epitomized the glamorous, over-the-top diva lifestyle. Known for dripping in diamonds and delivering quips like, "Darling, darling," she earned her reputation through extravagant demands and a sharp temper. In 1989, during a routine traffic stop in Beverly Hills, she escalated the situation by driving off, only to be pulled over again. Then, in a shocking turn, she slapped Officer Paul Kramer across the face. In court, she stormed out in tears when a prosecutor questioned her truthfulness, even violating a gag order with caustic insults. This infamous incident cemented her image as a celebrity who wasn't afraid to physically enforce her high standards. Beyond the courtroom, Zsa Zsa was known for expecting star treatment everywhere, from insisting on caviar and champagne at hotel check-ins to traveling with her own luxurious bed linens. She'd often show up late on set, spending more time preening in the mirror than rehearsing her lines, and her laziness was punctuated by witty retorts if someone failed to meet her demands. While her outbursts could be abrasive, many admired her flamboyant persona and self-awareness. She later joked about her own diva behavior on talk shows. Ultimately, Zsa Zsa's theatrics, ranging from public slaps to lavish lifestyle demands, made her a living caricature of the Hollywood prima donna, one who lived life on her own glamorous, if contentious, terms. Lana Turner, the dame with drama to spare. Lana Turner was Hollywood's ultimate glamour girl, whose off-screen life was as dramatic as her on-screen roles. Known as the sweater girl, she became a magnet for scandal. Her personal life was a whirlwind. She cycled through 7 husbands and numerous affairs, which frequently spilled onto film sets. The most notorious incident came in 1958. Her mob-associated boyfriend, Johnny Stompanato, known for his violent behavior, was fatally stabbed in her Beverly Hills home by her 14-year-old daughter, Cheryl. The inquest became a media circus, And while Cheryl was exonerated on grounds of justifiable homicide, the scandal irreparably tarnished Lana's image. On set, Lana's reputation for volatile behavior persisted. She reportedly slapped a young actress for mocking her string of ex-husbands and was known to be emotionally unpredictable, sometimes arriving at work visibly shaken by personal crises. Directors and co-stars whispered about her bad girl mystique, and though she strove to maintain professionalism, the magnetic pull of her troubled personal life was impossible to ignore. Ultimately, Lana Turner's beauty and talent were inseparable from the real-life drama that dogged her every move, a turbulent blend of passion, pain, and scandal that made her one of Hollywood's most enduring legends of high-stakes intrigue. Katharine Hepburn, strong-willed trailblazer. Katharine Hepburn redefined what it meant to be a Hollywood leading lady by refusing to conform to the era's expectations. Known for her blunt outspokenness and independent spirit, Hepburn famously wore men's trousers, once even parading around the studio in her underwear when RKO tried to force her into dresses. She once quipped, "I don't have a glamour side, not one of those fluffy females." Her fierce independence was evident in her relentless correspondence with directors. If she felt her input was ignored, she'd send an 8-page letter listing why the director needed her. Hepburn not only reshaped roles by acquiring the rights to the Philadelphia story, then selling it to MGM on her terms, but also consistently demanded that every aspect of production meet her high standards. She corrected costume designers with curt remarks like, "This is costumey, I'm not wearing it," and even clashed vocally with directors such as George Cukor. Hepburn's outspokenness extended off set too. She refused to marry Spencer Tracy despite their long-term relationship, defying societal norms. Though some found her difficult or unfeminine, her no-nonsense approach paved the way for future generations. With 4 Oscars to her name, Hepburn's uncompromising nature was less about temper tantrums and more about insisting on quality and authenticity. Joan Collins, Dynasty's real-life Alexis. Joan Collins became synonymous with diva behavior through her portrayal of Alexis Carrington on Dynasty, and her off-screen persona mirrored that larger-than-life character. Fearless and demanding equal pay, she once insisted on a salary equal to co-star John Forsythe's, sparking feuds and earning labels like diva and bitch in the tabloids. Collins embraced her persona fully, negotiating contracts that let her keep glamorous costumes and often directing the flow of scenes with her own impromptu one-liner fixes. Her on-set behavior was marked by sharp retorts and even physical altercations. One famed incident involved a catfight with co-star Linda Evans that became legendary. Beyond Dynasty, she toured in stage plays and soap operas like Guiding Light, demanding first-class travel and 5-star accommodations, and she wouldn't perform until production values met her exacting standards. Yet despite the controversies, Joan's self-awareness and ability to laugh at her own diva reputation, she even starred in a Snickers ad parodying her temper, cemented her status as an icon. Bette Davis, The Feud and the Fury. Bette Davis's reputation as difficult was born out of relentless self-demand and a refusal to settle for subpar roles. In the 1930s, under contract at Warner Brothers, she fought fiercely against being relegated to junk roles, going so far as to sue the studio for better parts. Known for her biting wit and unapologetic outbursts, Davis would take over scenes when she felt a director was incompetent, often disregarding their instructions in favor of her own interpretation. Her infamous feud with Joan Crawford on Baby Jane became Hollywood lore, with Davis delivering acid-sharp barbs, once remarking after Crawford's death, "Joan Crawford is dead." Good. Davis also publicly chastised studio executives, earning a reputation as a force who wouldn't suffer fools. Yet her uncompromising nature ensured that her performances were groundbreaking. Her dynamic intensity and willingness to battle for quality transformed every film she touched. Colleagues recall that her challenging demeanor was tempered by a generosity toward those who met her high standards, championing talented cameramen and writers alike. In her own words, being labeled very, very difficult was a badge of honor, a testament to her enduring pursuit of excellence. Elizabeth Taylor, Glamour, Scandal, and Spine of Steel. Elizabeth Taylor's life was a whirlwind of glamour and scandal that spilled over onto film sets. By her mid-20s, she was an international screen icon, yet her fierce independence often led to temperamental outbursts. During the production of Cleopatra in 1959, Taylor's torrid affair with co-star Richard Burton, while she was still married to Eddie Fisher, turned the set into a media circus. Paparazzi swarmed, production halted, and schedules stretched from 6 to 16 months. Taylor's star power meant she leveraged her success for top-dollar contracts and luxurious perks. But if studios hesitated, she wouldn't hesitate to walk away. On set, if a scene resonated too closely with her personal turmoil, she'd retreat to her trailer, sometimes halting production for emotional breakdowns. Despite these challenges, her warmth shone through in acts of kindness. She famously saved Montgomery Clift's life after a car accident and stood by Rock Hudson in his darkest times. Taylor's volatile behavior, from explosive feuds with co-stars to diplomatic negotiations with studio heads, painted her as both benevolent and tyrannical. Her 8 marriages and public battles over personal and professional control made her a living paradox, a diva who could be as tender as she was formidable. Jean Harlow, blonde bombshell with a temper. Jean Harlow, the original platinum blonde of the 1930s, dazzled audiences with her playful physique, but was equally notorious for her explosive temper. Early in her career, Harlow's infectious humor and brassy persona made her an MGM favorite. However, personal stresses, a scandalous marriage followed by her husband's mysterious death, and constant tabloid intrusion gradually unraveled her sunny demeanor. By her mid-20s, the pressures of fame had transformed her. Colleagues recalled her mood swings and explosive outbursts on set. One notorious incident involved Harlow throwing a mirror in her dressing room after an executive suggested using a stand-in, an act that symbolized her defiant refusal to be replaced. There were also whispers of her physically slapping a boyfriend during a heated dispute and cursing loudly at studio officials. Harlow's heavy drinking, a coping mechanism for her mounting pressures, only exacerbated her volatile behavior. Yet those who knew her well insisted that beneath the fiery temper was a warm, generous woman driven by passion for her craft. Clara Bow, the original It Girl gone wild. Clara Bow, the flapper-era It Girl, epitomized the wild, unbridled spirit of the jazz age. Rising from a rough Brooklyn background, she captivated audiences with her raw, unfiltered energy. But her refusal to conform to Hollywood's sanitized image soon made her difficult in the eyes of the studios. Paramount Pictures desperately tried to mold her into a demure star. Yet Bow's natural slang, rebellious behavior, and refusal to attend elite Hollywood balls set her apart. When asked to soften her Brooklyn accent for talkies, she skipped lessons to race cars instead, an act of defiance that defined her. Off-set, rumors abounded about her wild parties, with scandalous details of nude runs through studios and raucous behavior that tarnished the It Girl image. A disgruntled former secretary even revealed lurid details in court, fueling tabloid frenzy and forcing Paramount to distance itself. The pressure and constant exploitation eventually led to a nervous breakdown, and in 1931, Bow left Hollywood entirely to marry and retreat to ranch life. Sophia Loren, La Diva Italiana. Sophia Loren, an enduring icon from humble beginnings in Naples, is renowned for her breathtaking beauty, formidable talent, and uncompromising standards. A consummate perfectionist, she famously halted production on a Hollywood film until a director of photography replaced an unsatisfactory crew member who couldn't capture her best angles. Her almond-shaped eyes and high cheekbones demanded flawless lighting. During the filming of Houseboat, Loren reportedly slapped a crew member after a snide remark implied she was to blame for Cary Grant's marital troubles. Known for her unwavering authenticity, she once refused to appear on set in a revealing costume, arguing it compromised her dignity. Off-set, Loren's negotiating skills were legendary. She and her husband, Carlo Ponti, often jointly influenced production decisions, ensuring every detail, from set design to costume, met her high expectations. Her insistence on respect extended to punctuality and proper rehearsal, and she was not afraid to vocally correct a tardy co-star. Even as she aged, her regal presence commanded awe on set. Barbara Stanwyck, tough as nails. Barbara Stanwyck was the epitome of a no-nonsense professional, a woman whose tough-as-nails demeanor made her both feared and revered. Born into a hard life in Brooklyn, she developed a work ethic so intense that she was often the first to arrive on set, memorizing lines and setting a high standard for everyone around her. On her television series The Big Valley, she ran a tight ship, quietly instructing unprepared co-stars with a piercing gaze and a simple, "We're all waiting, and I don't like to wait." Known for her direct feedback, she would pull aside a tardy actor and remind them that excellence was non-negotiable. While some colleagues found her emotionally guarded, earning her the nickname Miss Stanwyck, those who met her high standards became loyal allies. Unlike more flamboyant divas, Stanwyck's difficult reputation was rooted in her unwavering discipline and refusal to tolerate mediocrity. She famously walked off a play in the 50s when a director proved incompetent, returning only when the leadership changed. Though her style could seem harsh, many later credited her stern guidance as instrumental in shaping successful careers. Dorothy Dandridge, talent in isolation. Dorothy Dandridge broke barriers as the first African-American movie star nominated for a Best Actress Oscar. Yet she faced relentless isolation and prejudice that often made her appear difficult. On the set of Carmen Jones in 1954, she endured subtle slights from crew members reluctant to interact with a black leading lady. Despite her elegance and undeniable talent, Dorothy was forced into roles that marginalized her, leaving her emotionally guarded and reluctant to socialize. She was known to be perfectionistic, insisting on additional takes if a scene wasn't flawless, because as a black actress, she felt the need to be twice as good to be recognized. Her dedication, however, came at a cost. The pressure of constant discrimination, compounded by personal struggles such as financial issues and caring for a special needs daughter, took its toll. On a later set in the early 60s, she even fainted due to exhaustion. Yet when she did perform, her brilliance shone through, captivating audiences with poise and depth. Her refusal to compromise on her identity was both a defiant act and a heavy burden. Marlene Dietrich, the rebel with a suit and a say. Marlene Dietrich, the icon of androgynous glamour, was known for her fierce insistence on controlling every aspect of her performance and image. Collaborating initially with director Josef von Sternberg, she crafted an unforgettable persona, sultry, half-lit, and enigmatic. After parting ways with Sternberg, she maintained her standards on sets like Destry Rides Again in 1939, personally directing the lighting crew when a camera angle didn't capture her allure. Known for her exacting taste, she would discreetly replace clunky shoes with sleeker pairs to ensure continuity. Dietrich demanded creative control. She insisted on script rewrites if dialogue didn't meet her standards, and wasn't afraid to refuse a take if she didn't feel it was perfect. Off-screen, her caustic wit was legendary. She famously quipped about co-stars and dismissed talent she deemed unworthy, once remarking on a rival's vanity with biting humor. Yet despite her reputation for stubbornness, Dietrich's generosity toward crew, cooking stew for late-night workers, and knitting socks for camera operators, revealed a softer side. Her uncompromising nature and ability to dictate her own image earned her the nickname La Dietrich. Rita Hayworth, glamour queen with inner demons. Rita Hayworth, the 1940s love goddess of Gilda, mesmerized audiences with her sultry screen presence. Yet her on-set reliability deteriorated over time due to personal turmoil. Originally transformed from Margarita Cancino by the studio into a glamorous star, Rita's constant reinvention took a toll on her self-esteem. After a failed marriage to Orson Welles and an exhausting schedule of back-to-back films, her performance began to slip. On the set of Affair in Trinidad in 1952, colleagues observed that she would flub lines and appear distracted, a far cry from her earlier precision. Studio head Harry Cohn even criticized her weight and performance, sending memos that drove her to tears and absenteeism. As her emotional state worsened, Rita turned to alcohol to cope, leading to increasingly erratic behavior. One incident on Miss Sadie Thompson in 1953 saw her locking herself away after a profanity-laced outburst. Her memory began to fail. On Pal Joey in 1957, She needed cue cards for simple scenes, leaving co-stars like Frank Sinatra concerned. A famous confrontation occurred when she stormed into Harry Cohn's office upon discovering he continued selling pinup images of her. While these outbursts painted her as unreliable, many later viewed her struggles as the result of an industry that exploited her beauty. Vivien Leigh, brilliance and breakdown. Vivien Leigh, immortalized as Scarlett O'Hara and Blanche Dubois, was a powerhouse whose extraordinary talent was marred by turbulent mental health. Her journey to win Gone with the Wind was marked by relentless determination, but the enormous pressure of the role and the grueling production schedule took a severe toll. During filming, Leigh would burst into tears when director Victor Fleming's harsh methods pushed her emotional limits. In the 1940s, while touring to entertain troops during World War II, she contracted tuberculosis and experienced frequent mood swings. On the set of Caesar and Cleopatra in 1945, while pregnant, she endured profound depression after a tragic miscarriage. By the 1950s, Leigh's bipolar disorder manifested as explosive outbursts. During a London run of A Streetcar Named Desire, she reportedly slapped a stagehand and screamed about "little green men." On the set of Elephant Walk in 1953, her paranoia reached a peak, leading to a full breakdown that forced producers to fly her back to England, tarnishing her reputation as reliable. Despite these challenges, when stable, she delivered mesmerizing performances that showcased her staggering emotional range. Colleagues recalled her brilliance on set, yet her unpredictability left everyone on edge. Winona Ryder, quirky perfectionist with nerves. Winona Ryder emerged in the 1990s as an indie darling with a unique, introspective approach that sometimes labeled her difficult. Known for her meticulous nature and artistic sensitivity, she famously dropped out of The Godfather Part 3 at the last minute due to anxiety and exhaustion, an act that left director Coppola scrambling. On set, Ryder's perfectionism often meant countless retakes. During Little Women in 1994, she repeatedly requested reshoots for emotional scenes, insisting her tears looked authentic. Her temperament could be unpredictable. During Girl Interrupted in 1999, she had a tearful disagreement with director James Mangold over her character's portrayal, leading her to leave the set temporarily to cool off. While her early career was marked by these bursts of artistic anxiety, her later work on Stranger Things showed a more mellow, professional side. Colleagues recall that she sometimes carried a ukulele between takes, a quirky habit that endeared her to cast and crew. Though her occasional retreats into self-doubt and over-preparation could slow production, Winona's sensitivity was a reflection of her deep commitment to her craft.